welcome to Full Frontal with Samantha B, or should I say, Fear Frighter with Scaremantha Boo. No, I shouldn't say that? Are you sure? Okay. Well, this is our Halloween episode, which actually means we'll be discussing things less horrifying than the topics we usually cover. Of course, everyone is scared of different things. While adults tend to fear stuff like zombies and serial killers, children mostly fear having their candy stolen by Jimmy Kimmel. They'd rather be turned into a vampire than turned into content. For most people, though, Halloween reminds us of our greatest fear, death. But there's one particularly scary aspect of death that we rarely talk about.
No fewer than 2 million people die in the United States each year, and that makes dealing with our dead a $20 billion industry.
The average cost of a funeral has been rising at twice the rate of inflation since the 1980s.
In 2019, the median cost of a traditional adult funeral with viewing, burial, and vault was $9,135.
To bury a dead body? It's cheaper to bury someone alive. Not that I've ever done that. Death in America didn't used to be a big business, but as you can see from this woman's terrifyingly calm explanation of burying your family's bodies, things were very different back then.
The real American funeral was basically families taking care of their own at home. The person died, there would be a wake in the home. They'd be either carried to the church or to the church cemetery, back to the home for a home burial. It was pretty simple.
Yeah, pretty simple, unless you got your corpse into a friend's couch moving situation. Pivoting is a bitch once rigor mortis sets in. By the 1930s, when more people were dying in hospitals instead of their homes, death had become professionalized. But unlike most multi-billion-dollar industries, this one profits off customers when they are at their most vulnerable. Much like Taylor Swift. Look, if you're gonna absolutely wreck me with an album like Folklore, of course I'm gonna buy your cardigan merch. Paying for funerals is impossible for many families who are increasingly resorting to desperate means like crowdfunding. And it's not like funerals are unaffordable because everyone's asking for big Aretha Franklin-style memorials with multiple dates and costume changes. Although, huge RESPECT if they do. Even the most basic funeral can be out of reach as the increasingly corporatized industry squeezes out every dollar it can.
Another questionable cost? Rental caskets. To view Aunt Alice, who, remember, will be cremated.
I was more suggesting, from an economical standpoint, a rental casket. To rent it is $2,250 for one day. Yep.
There are everyday ongoing abuses, financial exploitation, misrepresentations of legal requirements, pressuring emotionally vulnerable people into believing that the more they spend, the more love and respect that they're showing for somebody.
Spending money doesn't show respect to someone who's passed. Only turning them into a hologram does. Sometimes families have no idea what they're spending until they get the bill. The Federal Trade Commission says funeral homes must give a detailed price list to anyone who requests it, but they aren't required to post their prices on their websites, which would make comparison shopping a lot easier. Mima clipped coupons all her life. You really think she wouldn't want you to shop around for the best bargain? Unethical funeral homes also mislead families who are unaware that they don't have to hold a formal viewing, that no state law requires a coffin or casket, and that funeral homes are required to let customers use a less expensive coffin they bought elsewhere. Like at Costco. You can find them between the gallon container of mixed nuts and the jumbo bag of engagement rings. Everyone should be able to send their loved one off however they want, whether it's mounted on a Harley Davidson, attending their own funeral with a smoke and a drink, or this.
Lord, we want to thank you for the food we're about to receive. Thank the Lord for giving us a good meal.
Quentin loved breakfast, so the family decided to celebrate his life with a breakfast funeral.
I don't know what religion that is, but I am converting to it immediately. To make even more money, funeral industry groups have lobbied states to pass unnecessary legislation, including laws about who can prepare and bury bodies. Meanwhile, some funeral homes make their own policies, like prohibiting families from viewing or touching the body unless it's embalmed. At some North Carolina funeral homes, if your spouse has been dead for more than 24 hours, you can only see them through a glass window. This is a loved one, not a bag of Sun Chips in a vending machine. Although, to be honest, I have been known to cry just as hard when they have refused to fall. Aw, thanks for watching. If you'd like to hear more from Full Frontal, hit subscribe and visit our page for more videos. Or if you'd like to be radicalized, leave YouTube on autoplay.